Welcome back to our fifth part of our virtual class, where we're now going to try and take everything we've heard so far and try and apply it to the financial and economic crisis that we have witnessed or have been witnessing over the past couple of years, and that we're thankfully now getting out of. Many people asked whether what happened with the financial crisis and the ensuing economic crisis, whether this was not proof of a failure of markets. In other words, the revival of supply-side economics that we've seen, so thinking championed by Milton Friedman and other people, thinking in the same vein as Adam Smith, that free markets, that capitalism, that is the only good way to run an economy. Now that has been completely proven wrong by the facts. Markets fail. There is no invisible hand. Capitalism can do horrible things to entire societies and nations. So there is a need for government intervention. Governments needed to save, the banks needed to step in, and they need to do more control to impose rules. So less liberalization, but more government control over certain industries, like for instance the banking industry. Nobel Prize winner Joseph Stiglitz says that there is lots of information asymmetry, that the notion of a homo economicus, thinking rationally, well, that can only happen if there is enough information in the market available equally for all, but there is complete information asymmetry. Some people know so much more than others, and that will create asymmetries that will upset the market. In his views, a true good functioning market, an optimal market with good equilibria, is an exception and absolutely not the rule. And finally, coming to another Nobel Prize winning economist, Paul Krugman, who by the way writes an excellent blog in the New York Times on economic issues, so do check it out. In one of his contributions, Paul Krugman discussed the notion about saltwater and freshwater economics. It's about the map that we've seen about the red and the blue states in the United States. Saltwater, as you know, is in the seas, and if you remember looking at the election map, the coastlines, both the east coast and the west coast of the United States, colored blue voted Democrat, whereas the areas, the main central heartland of the United States, voted red, voted Republican, where you'd find fresh water. And then we see that the economic theories that are going to support the economic thinking of Democrats and Republicans are going to be voiced by economists in those areas. So saltwater economics is economics that is favoring Democrat views, more Keynesian, more government intervention, whereas the freshwater economics truly is about the, let's call it, the die-hard view that small government is best and that government intervention is an absolute no-no, whatever happens. So saltwater economics would be Keynesian thinking, would be demand side, would be Democrats, whereas freshwater economics would be Adam Smith, would be Milton Friedman, would be Chicago School, because Milton Friedman came from the University of Chicago, and many of the people that are still very much championing small government, are championing laissez-faire, are still working at the Chicago School. So one more time for you to consider. Now, that brings us to a very important question and a very important issue that we'll deal with in a next part of our virtual class, and that is the notion of, is economics truly theory and science, or do we have in fact an ideology that is being supported with arguments that look scientific? So about the notion, about the heart of economics, that is what our next part of the class will be about.